Welcome to Inside the Program on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. I'm Joe Cook. That's Eric Nalleen in the mobile office today. Thank y'all for watching. Happy July 4th. Hope y'all are enjoying the recognized holiday. Get the real holiday tomorrow, celebrating 250 years of America and all its allies. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But we got some team info to talk about. We wrote about it. Eric, you wrote about it over at Inside Texas. If you want the full scoop, head there using that first link in our description. You can also use that QR code at the top left. Join for $1, then get 50% off the first year. Before we go into each position, though, you had some good notes on Jonah Williams, and been a very, very interesting journey for Jonah between two baseball seasons, kind of with both cut short by injury. With football, him getting opportunities toward the end of last season with more trust. Vanderbilt game, Georgia game, even the Michigan game. Baseball and just a shoulder surgery kept him out for the later stages of that 2026 season, has affected what he's been able to do on the football practice field. But you had a positive update on him that you posted last night.
Yeah, he'd been on very light duty, light weights, individual drill, stuff like that. But he was back with the team doing 7-on-7 stuff yesterday, first day back. Good to hear on that. That's step one. Everybody's asking about Jonah pretty constantly, but until he's in pads and out there, knocking heads and reading and playing real safety. Last year he was kind of protected playing center field. We won't really have a good idea what to expect for the season. He's going to play a lot. They're going to bring him along. There's no doubt about that. But right now expectations are somewhat tempered, but they could ramp up real quick if he has a big August.
That's a position that they really need to find guys to fill in behind Derek Williams, Jelani McDonald. There's a lot of options there between Xavier. Well, Xavier Filsame's moved around, but with Kobe Black, with Jordan Johnson-Rebel, with Zealous Hicks, and then with Jonah, you can even throw in some of the freshmen, Torrey Davis as well. They just need to find guys behind those top two. And if Jonah is one of them, it go a long way towards helping Will Muschamp's defense.
They feel good about safety. They feel good about Kobe Black moving there. He's, I was not surprised because, it was anything against Kobe, just because I hadn't heard it much. But hearing that he's a very cerebral cornerback explains why he could, be a fish to water going to safety. And then, of course, he's got the physicality. We've seen that at cornerback, and the coverage traits are obviously going to be there. So it's just really learning about the different assignments, recognizing patterns a little bit quicker. It comes at you from a different angle. Playing corners a little different than safety, but they're bullish on him, and they really like Jordan Johnson-Rebel. They think he's ready to go. I'm not too worried about safety right now.
Safety's one of the position groups on the team, and one of the things you did last night was you ranked each position group, put them into power rankings. How many are there? 10? Yeah, 10. Number one, I don't think is any surprise just because of the headliner there. You got Colin Simmons, but there are players from all classifications, whether they're juniors, whether they're second-year guys, whether they're true freshmen and seniors who help that position be the strongest on the team in your source's eyes.
Yeah, it was funny. The first person he mentioned was Brad Spence, even though Brad is at linebacker. It's just because Brad lines up all over the place. And we don't often include him in that depth conversation, but you can. We'll talk about Brad a little bit more at linebacker. But this source thinks that, there's too much talk about quarterbacks going number one and that Colin Simmons is the best player in America and he should go number one. And then on top of it, he likes Lance Jackson and Zena and Richard Wesley. We talked a lot about Richard Wesley last week. So I think Edge is a pretty no-brainer selection. You've got the headliner, but then you've got the depth behind them. You've got elite talent behind them at various stages of their development, and you've just got a lot of guys. Jamarian Carlton, I don't know what we're going to see from Jamarian Carlton this year just because so many guys are there, but they love him too. So, the Edge is in a great spot.
Lots of fun guys for Alan Clark to work with, and going to keep it that way too with the recruiting class he's brought in. Number two, you flip over to the offensive side of the ball, wide receiver. Obviously, Cam Coleman, Ryan Wingo are the headliners, but it's a group that has a lot of versatility and skills that lends the whole position to having big playability.
Yeah, I mean, Sark, it's under two underrated keys about this position. They're willing blockers, they're physical blockers, which is going to play out in the run game quite well, and I think is going to aid in goal line situations. And then also they're very versatile. Cam Coleman's lining up in the slot, Wingo's lining up in the slot. Mosley plays both. He's done that before. Every receiver they have can pretty much play inside or outside. You hear about Cruz Stewart playing outside. Well, if you go to the evaluation, you think, oh, man, he's probably going to be a slot. These guys are all interchangeable. And Sark's it's going to help Sark hunt matchups, and we know he loves his pre-snap motion.
Number 3 is a position that'll be charged with getting those guys the ball. Maybe my favorite sentence you've written, small position group, but they're set at starter and backup. Yeah. Okay, yeah, makes a lot of sense. But, the whole position features Arch Manning, KJ Lacey, MJ Morris, Dia Bell. The future's there, the present's there. And the most important tidbit to take away, we know what Arch is and what he's likely to be, but everybody's really confident in KJ Lacey.
Yeah, this day and age, it's tougher to have a backup than ever before because everybody wants to go be a starter. Your good backup is going to go start somewhere. And so having Lacey, who we saw in the spring game, fortunately, I think we all feel better. We had been reporting very highly on him throughout spring ball, but to see his performance in spring really underlined all that. And he's having a terrific summer. So, yeah, Lacey cemented himself as the backup. And then Arch, no need to talk about Arch. We feel great about him. I guess one thing interesting is this source kind of downplays that Arch is going to go to the NFL. He says, I just don't think it's a foregone conclusion yet. I'm going to write a little bit more about that, but for now, my assumption, I think it's the safest assumption, is just that he'll get drafted and go. But if not, then we have to reevaluate the entire 2027 season, which would be fun to do. But for now, they're good at quarterback, small position group, so that's kind of the benefit if you have two good players. You can't have two good players everywhere else and be this highly ranked, right?
Exactly. We'll stay in the backfield. Running back is next, a completely revamped room. Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers, Derek Cooper, Michael Terry, Ryan Niblett, James Simon's in there as well. He's the only guy, and Michael Terry's returning, but we saw him shift around a bit last year. With only one true returner, it's a room that has so many different faces and skill sets that are really going to help the Texas offense probably gain some explosivity this year.
Yeah, another room with good depth, good headline talent, good different complementary skill sets. Raleek Brown is very different from Derek Cooper. Hollywood Smothers, I think he's a good all-around back. James Simon's a good all-around back, but he has Hollywood Smothers in front of him. Ryan Niblett, very versatile. Michael Terry, also very versatile with an entirely different body than Niblett. I asked about Terry because we get asked about him all the time. And he's coming along. He is progressing. He's getting better, but it's gradual. It's not like it's not an overnight switch for him. Transition, he's not a natural born running back like some of these other guys. He's an excellent athlete with good power, and he's got like a running back mindset. He's got the toughness and physicality, but he's still learning some of the nuances. So I don't know what to expect from him this year necessarily, but they do like his versatility, and I could see him carving out some sort of role.
If you head to Inside Texas, Ian has been defining the position, just kind of individual responsibilities and skill sets that each spot requires. And running back's pretty straightforward, but it also talks about some of the things Sark asks asks of that position and what to expect this upcoming season from it as well. Cornerback in nickel is number 5. This is one of the more talented, and I'm surprised it's down here a little bit just because of guys like Cade Phillips, Bo Masco. You throw in Grayson Littleton, like that's an incredible top line. And then you've written a lot about Wardell Mack and Warren Roberson getting strong reviews this year. If this is number 5, then that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I would have had them ahead of running backs, but running backs are going to have the production, the touchdown plays, and all that. It's going to stand out in our mind. And it's going to make a big improvement over last year. And I think it's going to be more noticeable. But to me, I would personally have cornerbacks over running backs. Bo Masco is called one of the top 5 players on defense. So that's exciting. And then you've got Cade Phillips, who I think has got an extremely high ceiling, has a little bit of experience, not a ton of experience. Masco has a lot more. Littleton gained a lot of experience last year. They didn't move him. They're keeping him at home for at least one more year. He's working with Muschamp. Having oversight from Muschamp can only make him better. Xavier Filsaime is there, so you got good depth. He's rep there. Wardell Mack is there, so you have really good depth. Littleton and Mack can both play corner. They love Smoke Matthews. They love Warren Roberson. Warren Roberson is eventually going to be a borderline star, I think. And I don't mean the position. I mean he's going to be that good. He's such a good athlete. I think he's probably just a year away. He'll probably be the 3rd corner And you got to remember, there's a reason they felt like they can move Kobe Black. They love all the guys that they have behind the two most likely starters. So cornerback's in an excellent position, and nickel.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to Andre the Lawyer.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results: Andre the Lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the Lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
Number 6, you have defensive tackle, and one of the first players mentioned was someone who may not start this year in Justice Terry.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to start. He's going to play a ton. Yeah, it's always interesting who, and I try to share that with the readers, who the first guy mentioned is when it stands out. And it stood out with Justice Terry because of his work ethic and his drive. You know, everybody thinks about the explosiveness off the ball. He's got kind of a Herculean build, even though he's, you know, maybe he's under 300 pounds, but he's extremely well put together, hyper athletic. But, you know, you start hearing about his drive, maybe the most driven player at the position outside of perhaps Hero Kanu. It's 1A, 1B. So you put that mindset with that raw ability, and it's hard you're not going to keep that guy off the field. I think they're trying to keep him down around 290 pounds. I'm not sure exactly what his actual weight is, but that was the guess. And I think a big part of that is so he could play 4I, you know, kind of a hybrid DN, D tackle position. But yes, Justice Terry is expected to have a big season, a big impact. You got January, of course. You got Kanu, Graffard, Murad Watson, who I sometimes forget about, but he's had a really good offseason. They love Moran Charles, Josiah Sharma. They're at least 7 deep at this position, which matters more because they do play. You know, you want some of those guys that can play 4I as well. You want them to be able to play heavy with the D tackle up there, even though Colin Simmons is a 4I at times when they're in base. But yeah, can't hurt having depth. Each guy makes the other one better. Not when they're on the field at the same times, though that's true, but also just by everybody staying fresh.
It's like that, you know, the 80-20 thing. The 80% of Colin Simmons snaps that are going to look normal are not going to have people as upset as the 10% or however much percentage where it's 4I or him dropping into coverage.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the source says he's the best player in college football. He should go number 1 in the draft. He doesn't want to hear anything about South Carolina edge. He doesn't want to hear anything about the quarterbacks, including Arch Manning. He said Colin Simmons is the best player in college football, and I don't discount that.
Number 7, we talked about it a little bit, safety, but Blake Gideon coming back and just more experience coming back has this position looking better than last year.
Yeah, Jelani taking the next step. He has to. You know, you lose some leaders. When you lose a leader, you better have some new guys step up. Jelani, you know, stepped right into that void left by Taft. D. Will is, you know, the expectations are he'll have a good year. You know, I asked what are realistic expectations for these guys, and you know, Jelani first round all conference sort of guy, and then D. Will mid-round draft pick after this season. So fans are you know, remember last year with Derek Williams, I would throw that one out. I would go back to the guy that we saw pre-injury and have high expectations for him. Gideon's return is massive for this room. And then I think the depth is, you know, I understand concerns about it, but they feel good about it. You know, they feel good about Jordan Johnson-Rebel. They feel good about Kobe Black making that move. And they feel like, you know, the light's going to come on for Jonah. Just needs a little bit of time.
Linebacker is number 8. Rasheem Biles is going to have a huge year. Ty Anthony Smith's right there by him. But it sounds like there could be some competition for Ty Anthony Smith for that starting role.
Yeah, Crier's not going to go quietly because he has all those Mike traits of, you know, playing the run physically, the leadership, the communication, you know, all that stuff. I think one guy fits base and I think the other guy fits nickel, and they're going to mix and match. And then also you got Ty that can back up Atkinson, or not Atkinson, I'm sorry, Biles. And then Cummings is probably going to play some. Atkinson's going to play some. And then old Brad Spence was mentioned again as a guy that could play, you know, four positions. You know, he's called the most versatile guy on the team outside of Ryan Niblett. So we could see him move around and mix and match a lot. Some of this stuff is hard to conceptualize. You're going to have to see what their packages look like on the field when they start playing. But yeah, they don't have a ton of bodies there, but they can manufacture depth because Ty can play 2 positions. Spence can theoretically play a couple positions. Biles can play multiple positions. So, they just can't lose Biles is the number one thing. He was called the second best player on defense behind the obvious Colin Simmons.
Homer and I went over him a couple weeks, or I guess last week, or actually earlier this week. Time blends together. Really excited for him and what he's going to be able to do. Number 9, the offensive line. I don't think anybody's super surprised about them being down in this position, but your source was really optimistic about what this unit could still provide this year.
Yeah, that was a funny conversation. I said, I kind of came with a shot across the bow. I said, if last year's offensive line was a 3 out of 10, what would this year's offensive line be? He's like, man, was it really that bad, a 3? I was like, yeah, you guys, it was pretty bad. He goes, yeah, I know. He said it could be a 7 to start and then maybe an 8 as the season goes on. I said, well, if that's the case, they're going to be in good shape. And he replied, yeah, if they win 10 games with the offensive line that you say is a 3, what if they get up to 7 or 8 with all that, the improvement that they have got, running backs that can make a play. It doesn't have to be blocked perfectly for the running backs to make a play. You got Cam Coleman that should make life easier for everybody. Yeah, so, that's a good takeaway. If they get that offensive line to a 7 or 8 and they won 10 games with a 3, then you just have to factor for the schedule is a little bit more difficult. Football's weird, stuff happens, but this should be a markedly better team, especially on offense than last year. Well, I would say on defense too, because the defense cratered late. It's going to be a better team overall, man. It's just more talented, more experienced.
That experience, I think, is going to be the most important part. Number 10, tight end. And you've been very high on this room over the past couple of years, and what sets up well for this season, even with Jack Indries leaving. It's just we don't know who that number 1 is going to be quite yet.
Yeah, so what I missed last year was I thought Jordan Washington was going to take a step up, and then this year would be a big season for him, and we didn't quite see that step. I don't know. I don't want to say anything negative. I'm not giving up on that guy because he's talented, but I expected him to have a pretty big impact on this season. Right now, they're still searching for who can be that guy. They want it to be Townsend, and he's still growing into that role. He's not quite there yet. Spencer Shannon obviously has come on strong. They're not going to be bad here. It's just, we're talking about a team that's got aspirations to win the national championship. And most of those positions are 8, 9, or 10. You would say wide receiver is probably a 10. Edge is a 10. You got the best player in college football there. So the scale is still high. This is not 4 years ago when they're having to put an offensive lineman just to have a chance at tight end. So they're in okay shape. But we're going to learn a lot more about them as the season progresses, like who can become that go-to guy. And also, are they going to try to isolate and get Townsend open like they did with Sanders, or is it more of, are they just going to try to take advantage of open space by the defense, what the defense is giving them? Are they going to truly try to match them up and win that way, or is it just, okay, look, they're so focused on the run game or the perimeter passing game that this is wide open and they're going to get free yards. It's a big difference on what type of impact they can make.
We'll have a lot more discussion of this over at Inside Texas. So make sure you head over there, use that first link in our description, or use that QR code at the top left of the screen. Join for just $1. Then you can get 50% off your first year. Awesome time to join. Season's right around the corner, just over 2 months away at this point. So come check out everything Inside Texas has to offer.
Hey, bring up this Sugar Poppy Chulo one.
Oh, man. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I feel good about Joe Cook. Thank you. I appreciate that on this holiday weekend. And
that one's gonna age like milk. Chulo, I want you to bookmark that one, buddy.
Mexico and England.
Oh shoot. Jeez, man. Here's the thing. I could see Harry Kane almost gets a penalty in every game, like a penalty kick, right? It almost seems like every time I watch that guy, he gets a penalty kick. So I'm already figuring they're going to get one goal that way. Then he's so good, he's probably going to get another goal. Mexico in Azteca at that elevation, and they look really good the other day. England's always disjointed. They've had poor organization for as long as I can remember. I think Mexico can win that game. Honestly, I don't care who wins. I don't want either team to win.
I don't have a big dog in this fight, but I just know there's a CONCACAF experience that England's about to go through.
if you're an American soccer fan, then Mexico can only be viewed as OU or A&M. So I don't want either. And then England, why would I root for them? You know, this whole holiday is against them. So I mean, I'm not rooting for either of them. I'm rooting for a compelling soccer game, that's for sure.
Be on all week. Stay tuned to Inside Texas all weekend. Thank you all for watching. Eric, thank you for joining. We'll see you next time on Inside the Program.